This mini lecture talks about monopolistic competition as part of the monopolistic competition and oligopoly unit. By the end of this mini lecture, you're going to be able to identify some key characteristics of monopolistic competition. But you know what? I'm not really super interested in talking about economics today. Let's talk a little bit about some Mexican food because there are actually a couple of really good Mexican restaurants and some not so good Mexican restaurants. Taco Bell located right near campus. So I want you guys, if we ever get back to campus, to be prepared for the meals that you can get. So first of all, you've got Taco Bell, which is well known for its fourth meal advertising campaign. I had a friend of mine tell me that her family was from India, and she said that it's very common in Indian culture when you've been drinking to go to Taco Bell. And I tried to explain to her that it's very common in every culture when you've been drinking to go to Taco Bell. So Taco Bell is like, it's cheap, it's not high quality, but it's always available. Meanwhile, you've got Moe's, and Moe's queso is just much better, and it's right here on campus. Meanwhile, you've got Chipotle, which, if you're not the queso person, if you're the guac person, I personally am a guac person, you really are going to get better guac at Chipotle. It's a little bit further away. I had a student who would leave in the middle of a 3 hour class. It was a night class, which I highly recommend against ever doing. But he would come back with Chipotle, and the nearest Chipotle is down on Middle Country Road, down by like North Ocean Avenue. So he was going out of his way to get it. You got Cabo Fresh, and well, why do you go to Cabo Fresh? It's right there in the name. Cabo Fresh is where they sort of position themselves at least as where you get the highest quality, freshest ingredients. And then you've got there's this one place that everybody always brings up. They say I'd love it. I've never gotten out there. It's called Bubba's or something, and everybody is like, you can get a chicken finger burrito there. I mean, okay, if I want a burrito, I'm probably not going for a chicken finger burrito. I'm going for a more traditional filling. But if that's your bag, whatever floats your boat, man. Um, but I have a secret. We've been talking about economics this whole time. Because monopolistic competition is what economists call industries where you have very similar products, but you have differentiating factors, right? The products are distinctive, so each firm has a mini monopoly on its own style or flavor or brand name. So you probably have a preference for one of the Mexican restaurants that we talked about. And you can probably point to a reason that you like it better than the others. It's kind of classic to talk about Coke and Pepsi here. Coke is a little bit spicier, Pepsi is a little bit sweeter. But I find you get a little bit more variety from the Mexican restaurant example. You can also go with the fast food chicken sandwiches. And I'd like to incorporate by reference here the story I used to tell about a student who made fun of me because I liked the hot and spicy McChicken. We call it monopolistic competition because it's monopolistic in that each firm has a monopoly over its own brand name. So it's got its own product. Burger King can't sell the quarter pounder with cheese. McDonald's can't sell the Whopper. Each firm controls its product. It's the sole producer of its own product. But it's competitive because the similar products are competing for market share by making their products a little bit different. So you can differentiate your product in a number of different ways. You can have your physical characteristics. You can have the location. There is a difference between Hellman's mayonnaise and Best Foods brand mayonnaise. If you go to the West Coast, you'll see ads that have a very familiar jingle. They sound like bring out the best foods and bring out the best. Yeah, I know it sounds wrong, doesn't it? And not just because I can't carry a tune. Because on the East Coast, we say bring out the Hellmans and bring out the best. And also bring out the best foods and bring out the best is a really terrible jingle. Um, but that arose just because of the different brands that were already set up in those parts of the country. You can also add some intangibles. Firestone, for example, has the lifetime wheel balance that they'll sell you. Um, Nordstrom, well known for its customer service guarantee. And guys, look up the Maytag Repairman ads at some point. The whole gag of the ads is that it's lonely being the Maytag Repairman because the appliances never break down. I would imagine a freshman marketing student could do better than that these days. Products that have these qualities are called differentiated. You're not going to have to do any calculus here. Product differentiation is any action that firms take to make customers think their products are different from their competitors. So it's setting up your own brand. These varieties create product differentiation and monopolistic competition. If I can ask you why you prefer one brand over the other and you can give me an answer, even if the answer is stupid, then you have differentiated products. Oh, you like Bud Light Seltzer because it was on the XFL? Watch how quickly this reference gets dated. Uh, well, yeah, I mean, that's stupid to me, but it's product differentiation. You prefer Natty Light Seltzer because your economics professor used to use Natty Light as an example of an inferior good and you think it's funny? That's not stupid at all. That's economic theory in action. But it's also product differentiation. So a perfectly competitive firm has that flat demand curve. A monopoly has that downward sloping demand curve. A monopolistically competitive firm is also going to have a downward sloping demand curve. The key here is that they can raise their price without losing all of their customers, or they can lower their price. They've got more flexibility than a perfectly competitive firm, but less flexibility than a monopoly because if you raise your price too high, other firms will take your customers. Um, Profit under monopolistic competition, they're still going to attempt to maximize their profit. These three bullet points might as well say blah, blah, blah. Marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Remember, the key here is that all firms are going to maximize their profit where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Calculating profit uses the same system as perfect competition and monopoly. You look for where marginal revenue equals marginal cost to find the profit maximizing quantity. You find the total revenue. You find the total cost. You find the difference. In other words, you take the most commonly written on the hand formula in economics, profit equals quantity times price minus average total cost, and you apply it. You guys should be experts at calculating profit by now. The thing about monopolistic competitors is that you're going to have free entry, right? So even if a firm is making profit in the short run, they probably won't be able to keep it. You're going to see other firms enter because, once again, if anybody can do it, you can't make any money at it. So if a monopolistically competitive firm is making high economic profits, somebody's going to enter with a similar but not identical product and try to snap up all of their profits. So you'll get people sorting themselves into different brand loyalty camps. As long as there are positive economic profits, you're going to see new entry. You can make a profit or a loss in the short run, but in the long run, we're going to move toward a zero economic profit, just as we had in perfect competition. But perfect competition, we're going to have the lowest price level. We're going to have productive efficiency, which means we're going to have goods being produced at the lowest possible average cost. In the case of monopolistic competition, prices are going to be a little bit higher. We're not going to be producing at the allocatively efficient level, so we're going to have a smaller quantity, higher price, probably higher costs as well. There are some benefits here to product differentiation, and this is one of the more philosophical sides of things. We don't all want to be wearing the same clothes, eating the same foods, and driving the same cars. For example, I love my blue Honda Civic, which is dirt nasty low. But when I say that, sometimes people get offended. In fact, when I'm teaching my Eco 101, which is mostly car people, it's mostly automotive tech students, I say I drive a blue Honda Civic that's dirt nasty low. They laugh, and some of the people actually think their Mustangs are nicer than my Honda Civic. The Mustang isn't anywhere near dirt nasty low. The Mustang is raised to a reasonable level, and yet they prefer it. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know, man. I don't know. But heterogeneous preferences make the world go round. Or, in other words, different strokes for different folks. Advertising, it's all about changing the perceived demand curve. So if you advertise, you can either steepen the demand curve or take your firm's demand curve and shift it right. You make more people want to buy your product. Either way, you either sell a greater quantity or charge a higher price, probably some combination of both, and increase your profit. This is a quote from Arthur Pigou. Pigou is going to be relevant to us again when we talk about externalities, but Pigou basically says it might be that if firms all spend money on advertising, they're going to just hack up the market and nothing is going to change. But as we'll discuss in the next mini lecture when we discuss game theory, it can be the case that if one firm advertises and another doesn't, well, that firm can get an advantage. So it can be that advertising becomes necessary for both firms, even though it doesn't make either firm better off. Take a look at the quick reviews, think about some monopolistically competitive industries, think about why differentiated products are important. What's the difference between the demand curves in the three industrial organizations we've talked about so far? How does a monopolistic competitor choose price and quantity using marginal revenue and marginal cost? MR equals MC. How do you graph and interpret monopolistically competitive firms' average marginal and total cost curves? Same way we've done so far. And how do you compute total revenue, profits, and losses? Same way we've done so far. Folks, you are well prepared for this.